Okay, so this is our closing session. And we have, basically the way we want to run it is, it's an open mic format. We have 2 questions for you. And we just want to have a discussion, or anybody who wants to speak up, please let us know. We'll be walking around with the mics. Zoe has the first question.
Okay, so first of all, because it's relevant to the first question, if you filled out your papers and you haven't given them to us, we have a pile here of papers from your takeaway. So the first question that we wanted to ask, if anyone wants to share, if there's one thing that you took away for yourself from this workshop that you want other people to know about, or also if there's something you want to really, really make sure goes into the report.
I really want to make sure it makes it into the report that as engineers, we also think about responsible use of AI because of all the energy use, water use, land use. And I feel like as engineers, we're the bridge between what's happening in mathematics and computer science and what society needs. So can we use our role to bring attention to those questions and think about responsible use?
Now is the time when you all get quiet.
Just maybe I'm sort of repeating my own horse again, but the benchmark thing has come up a couple of times, and I guess what I'm curious about is, and I don't have an answer for this, but what should they look like? What scope should they have? How would we do something together as a field that would be compelling for everybody? I don't have the answer to this. I'd love to chat with people who are interested, and anybody who wants to contribute to that effort, I would love to partner and collaborate with you.
I'll say something, while we wait. So I think in the last 2 days, the role of humans has come up so much. So I think we really, in the report, we should emphasize the importance of humanities and social sciences as we build this area forward. Collaboration with faculty members who have thought about these problems for decades should also be brought in.
I'll also say something, but I really hope someone else will come say something too. This is not so much for the report, but it's just so refreshing to see so many young people who are doing different kinds of research in this community. So thanks for coming to the event and keep doing awesome stuff.
Other talks? I'll say something. One of the things that have been a hallmark for me at this workshop has been a lot of conversation about student outcomes integrated with AI. One of the big takeaways in our conversations in these breakout rooms has been this idea of touching grass. That was the phrase that got brought up, and it's really stuck with me. Of us helping students engage in an AI that is productive, but us using real tangible outcomes for students and them engaging with real tangible things for us to evaluate actual learning. That's just been a really, really great point that's been discussed quite a few times.
There are 2 things that have struck me. The first was the interplay between Mark Fuge, or Fuge. What is it, Fuge or Fuge? Fuge, okay. Mark Fuge and his counterpart. I thought that was a phenomenal session, and the way they played it out was very stimulating. The second thing was that I'm taking away, which was absolutely fantastic, and I would like to I suggest that other people think about it, is the talk this morning by Sanjay. And he made a very interesting point. He said we have to replace teach with learn. That is a very, very important observation, and how we have to rethink what we do with education. So it's not, so when Jitesh said about bringing the human in, that struck me and said, he's talking about human in research and what we are doing, but we are also thinking in terms of education, in terms of building the society to make things happen. And so those 2 talks have got me thinking, trying to the point that Jitesh has just made.
One thing, well, a couple things. I really enjoyed interacting with our systems colleagues through this event. So that was really nice to hear those perspectives and gave me a lot to reflect on. Something that I hope can make it into the report in some way was the framing that we've used throughout of the AI for EDSE or EDSE for AI, and perhaps outlining a couple of next steps or important future visions within each of those two, because I don't think it's an or, I think it's an and yeah, so those are the two things from my side.
So I'd like to actually give a shout out to the organizers. This is really a fantastic experience, and I don't think we get a I don't think we get and I've heard several people say this in the course of this day and a half, that we don't get an opportunity to talk in conferences like this. The conferences are no longer venues where we can do these sort of discussions. And little details like having a room with round tables instead of an auditorium and so on. It's been so easy and so nice to converse with other people that I really think you guys deserve a big applause for really creating a space where we can engage in a fun way and deeply write about this topic. So.
Okay, so that actually brings us to our second question, which is what should the next workshop be on? So is there any specific theme, sub-theme that you would like to see focused on? And this is more feedback for, yeah.
I think we've come to a time where we can think about self-organizing systems. That's not just the physical world, but also the human world. How do we self-organize? That is, how does the human being accommodate the machines, and how does the machine accommodate the human being? And Sanjay brought that up very nicely this morning. So that's self-organizing. But the second thing that happens is self-redefining, because what we are talking about is a redefinition of what we mean by humans. So it was just years ago we thought about humans and what we did in engineering in a certain way. The computer revolutionized that. I think we are at a point in human history where AI is going to revolutionize what humanity means and how we react to it. So I think this notion of evolution, but the evolution is not just of the human being, but it's the evolution of the human-computer cyborg that we have to talk about. And there are a huge number of research issues in that bring together people from different disciplines and things like that. So that is what I think would be very exciting to think about, and have people like Sanjay and others come and talk to us about the sociologists, the political scientists, the futurists come and talk to us about these sorts of things.
Thank you, Farooq.
I think this may bridge off of that, and also is just kind of echoing what Jitesh was just summarizing. Is we talked so much about humans, whether they're in their loop, whether the perceptions of the AI, how humans are perceiving AI. And so I think having a workshop focused on humans, like in kind of all areas of the process, including bringing in perspectives from other disciplines as well, I think would be really amazing.
So I have two plugs for what may be considered for the next event like this. One is on research, and the other one is on education. I'll pick the education one first. There's this tendency to think there's a correlation between competence and confidence, right? And I think there is a major challenge we have today, in the sense that we have students who come up confidently and who have no competence in what they are talking about. The reason being that we're now in an AI world where they put in things, they get answers, they don't even know how or what went behind the answers they are producing. So I think maybe as we go forward in education terms, we begin to think about to what extent is this evolving world impacting competence first before confidence, right? So that's one on the education front. For the research, if you look at this room, we're all pretty much academics. Next one, I would like to see industry players. I want to see people from Amazon, people from Google, those guys that are out there. Because we're talking about this symbiotic relationship whereby we're not just sitting in our own bubble here and giving ourselves pat on the back. We want those guys spending billions to be in the room as well. Like, well, you guys are part of the ecosystem, but maybe a minuscule part of it. Or maybe we're actually going to be playing bigger roles as well going forward. So I know it's probably more ask for the organizers, but I know you've got a contact, and we would like to see those in the room next time. Thank you.
Yeah, this is just to follow Dr. Farooq's comment. I think there are a lot of natural systems, like biological systems, they self-organize into different levels, different hierarchy, resilience, and so on. I think it'll be interesting to see how we can uncover some of the AI aspects. It is intelligent system, so how we can bring it and then self-organize into different aspects, I think.
So to reiterate some of what Anastasia said, and I've heard this conversation in all the different areas, so in EDSE and DTM and CECM and DFM, all these little minute groups and clusters, they're always talking about how do we reach out and impact other areas. And I think especially in design, we talk about that a lot. Engineering design, how do we get our methods to help these other areas? So I think it'd be interesting to see something like EDSE plus, and hear from people who are applying engineering design, system engineering in other fields and have made that connection, and see if others can kind of learn from that to help branch out.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I often describe my research as being applied AI or applied optimization. And when I say applied, I shrug. And my guess is that many of you are also applied. So, and we're often here reacting to this technological change that's happened, and how can we leverage it or how can we prevent it? So I don't know what to make of that, but I wanted to kind of point out that observation that maybe in the future we need to think about how we can help pioneer what those are. Maybe it means breaking down into smaller levels, or dissecting this AI thing into supervised and unsupervised or whatever subtopics. Many of us probably teach a numerical methods class or have had that experience. We don't consider those methods magic anymore, and we know how they work, and and I think AI is really the same thing. We need to stop thinking of it as a magic technology that we can react to and maybe leverage. What do we do to make it really impact systems engineering and design? And so.
Just one more thought on building on one of the presentation topics that I talked about was, for a lot of other communities, it's very clear what some success means. Like in robotics, we were talking about robo-soccer. In machine learning, like they had their own ChatGPT moment. I think one thing where we all can kind of think more about is what are those kind of very clearly defined test cases which my grandma can understand. And it's not about like, this is DAC, this is DTM, this is this. It's like a very clear, like this is success for AI for EDSE as a community. And maybe this is one thing where we all need to chat more about and think more about different ideas.
I wanted to touch upon three topics. One is longitudinal study, where we know more and more about how humans behave, in the sense that how humans were interacting with machines and how now humans are interacting with AI, maybe some other evolved systems or some sort of longitudinal study which goes on for 20 years or more. Another thing is the second topic is a large scale problem where multiple people, like more than 20, 30 people can collaborate and attack from different angles, kind of. And another is designing better toy problems, which our students can understand tough concepts in a better way.
So yeah, one thing that struck me at this conference that I guess I really wasn't expecting was sort of the whispers of the energy efficiency and the environmental impact. That's something I have no experience in. But I think it made me think that, you know, and maybe I'll say efficiency instead of sustainability or the environment in current times. But I want to say that maybe, you know, we have to look at it as there's a responsibility for us as the design side to look at those sort of impacts, because the people that are in the environmental side don't know the design. They don't know how good an optimal design is or how good you need to go. So I think that's definitely something that we need to consider. We need to be the leaders on that because industry's not going to do it either. So that's just one thought I had.
If I can share an observation, so I don't go to many conferences in this community. I go to a lot of systems engineering conferences, and we lament exactly the opposite things as you do, and we're nominally one program, so maybe there's a better together kind of thing. All the conferences I go to, people say there's not enough academics doing academic things who have the space to do academic things. There's too many industry people. We're too focused on the practical problems. We're too focused on the system level issues. Maybe we should actually pay attention to our stuff. And so I'm seeing some nodding from the couple of systems engineers in the background. Like, this is what we wish existed for us. So maybe bringing you guys to some of our conferences and us coming more to those will solve a lot of those problems without everyone trying to do all the other things and saying the grass is always greener on the other side. And I will share a list of conferences you might consider.
Great. Any other observations?
Yeah, I was also thinking there's a lot of talk about data. So, I mean, I don't know too much about what kind of data sets are out there. I only know the ones that are in my, you know, core area. But it seems like in systems engineering, we need different types of data sets. In, you know, design, you know, 3D shape design, we need different data sets. So I think it would be really fruitful to have like a, you know, we talk about all the data sets that are within our area and kind of organize them into, you know, different groups of data sets and say, this data set is good for this reason. How do we say one data set can be used for one use and another for another? So I don't know, I thought that could be very helpful for me in framing and understanding data sets.
Okay, so my final comments, you know, I had a lot of fun working with Faiz and Zoe, planning for this whole event. A lot of fun working with Harrison in terms of getting the NSF proposal written and getting it awarded so that we can do this. And the success of any workshop is actually dependent on the participants who are there. And it's so nice to see everybody so engaged in this entire dense program that we put together starting at 7:30 yesterday to now. So I think the credit goes to all of you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed all the discussions, all the presentations, and I'm looking forward to participating in the next workshop like this. Zoe, Faiz, any closing comments from you? And then we'll invite Harrison to.
I think I want to echo your point. It's been really good working with Jitesh and Zoe, and also I thank all of you to come. And like, we were initially not sure with the current funding situation and all the other factors that are going on, how many people will get, and we were pleasantly surprised to see the amount of interest that we got. Also, we had people coming from like all over Europe versus like like people like taking the time to actually come and like share their thoughts, and it has really been an amazing experience. And also, I appreciate like Harrison, like, because you're very focused on like community building and talking about as a professor. It's like we need to build a community, and that is a big focus of this workshop. And I personally, I felt that I saw some of that community activities emerging from all the discussions. So thank you.
I'm not sure how we ended up with one microphone between us, but I don't know. It's the end of the day, the end of the long day. Yeah, so I will echo that. I learned so much listening to what all the different interactions were happening. I always say when I open conferences that I hope you made a new friend in a different discipline. And I don't know that we had enough disciplines that would be true, but at least I hope you find new collaborators. I wanted to echo Leah's point about collecting data sets. We had a lot of interesting conversations about what data sets mean, what test beds mean, what benchmarks mean. I think that there's a real opportunity to share some of our resources, especially as we're getting into this age where everyone needs data. And if we have a little bit more consistency on how people are evaluating a lot of what the core constructs are in the community, I think that would be really helpful. There were a lot of times where I heard the same word used in many different ways from different disciplinary perspectives, and that makes it really hard to aggregate knowledge. So I think just having these conversations, I at least have a sense of what words I want to pay attention to if I'm reading in different disciplines. So that's step one. But I'm looking forward to lots of continued engagement.
Just, sorry, a plug on that is, I think one of my students had created an aggregator page for data sets. We haven't updated it recently, but happy to update. If you have data sets and just want our website to link to yours, we're happy to do that.
Great.
Well, I'd like to echo once again, just thanking the organizers. From the agency perspective, although I'm not representing formally, I think this is a really high on return on investment. Jitesh, Faiz, and Zoe, initially they had some idea about what the workshop would look like, and we went through some iteration. And especially this year, we thought that opening up a little bit wider group will really benefit all of us. Especially junior college, looking back myself, when I attended those 4 series of workshops, they were very encouraging to get to know people. Normally in conference setting, I don't get to talk to them that much, but here in a small group setting, I was able to express myself and to listen to others. So this is indeed really money well spent, in my view, very well spent. There are some things I did not hear during this workshop. One was notably computing. So we hear a lot about quantum computing or different ways of compute things. Maybe we all embraced it already, or maybe we are seeing the emergence of that. So something to think about, in addition to all the things that's shared, there are a few areas I believe that are very much emerging as a big resources behind it, including computing, AI, advanced manufacturing, design, combination of those. So that's interesting observation in my perspective, but I'm sure the community will really listen to and observe what's coming up. And this is exactly what we are doing, why we are doing this, because we get together and discuss, and at that point it may not make sense, but somebody's talking about it, and then we kind of go back, and then maybe you potentially found a collaborator during this time. So this is all great. So as long as I'm allowed to serve in this role, I'll be happy to be supportive of whatever the community is doing. My role is to really pulling together resources to support. So that's like my unofficial, as university faculty colleague statement. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Harrison. Okay, and last but not the least, some of you commented that the workshop has been very well organized, the food is great. All the credit goes to the person standing in the back, Rachel. She worked tirelessly on the back end, trying to make sure all the logistics were taken care of, all the registration stuff happened. She communicated with some of you, but she has been a great help. And of course, our AV team has been working tirelessly also. So thank you all. This brings us to the end of this workshop, of the formal part of the workshop. The next thing is optional. It is, I know some of the assistant professors have expressed interest in getting some advice, some mentorship from some of the senior colleagues. So if you are interested, please stay back and we will try to organize that. Okay, thank you all.